I'm going to read a brief statement, share some information with you, and take some questions as well. The statement that I'm going to read, you probably already have, but again, we'll share that first, and then we'll move on. On September 1st, 2014, at approximately 9:30 p.m., officers from the Vero Beach Police Department responded to the McDonald's restaurant located at 1925 US 1 in reference to a 911 caller stating that a customer had been stabbed and it was lying inside the store. The witness to the event observed the suspect flee the scene on foot and run in a northeast direction across US 1 towards Burger King at 1928 US 1. Officers responded to both locations in order to render aid to the victim and to attempt to locate the suspect. The officers who arrived at the McDonald's found a white male, later identified as Kevin Adorno, aged 32, lying on the floor near the bathrooms. Adorno had been stabbed in the chest and arm. Although EMS and fire rescue also assisted in the attempts to save Adorno, he succumbed to his wounds and was pronounced deceased a short time later at the Indian River Memorial Hospital. The suspect, later identified as Rene Herrera Cruz, date of birth 6/16/1955, was apprehended across the street from the crime scene at the Burger King by members of the Vero Beach Police Department and Indian River County Sheriff's deputies who had responded as well. The suspect matched the description provided by the eyewitnesses, and he was placed under arrest and transported to Vero Beach Police Department for questioning. During questioning by detectives of the Vero Beach Police Department, Cruz admitted to stabbing Adorno. He stated that he felt Adorno was directing other people via cell phone to attack him, and Cruz therefore felt threatened and attacked Adorno. Witness to the event saw Adorno walk out of the parking lot to the parking lot of the McDonald's prior to the attack and use his cell phone. They then observed Cruz approach Adorno and begin to attack him with a knife and then run across US 1. There were no statements that would lead detectives to believe that Cruz was threatened or accosted in any way by Adorno. Cruz was charged with first-degree murder and is currently at the Indian River County Sheriff's Jail with no bond. I'll go ahead and entertain some questions.
Do you have any surveillance video of what happened?
We are collecting surveillance video. We do, and at this time we're not able to share that with the media.
Do you know
we're going to sift through the some of the evidence, and what we can share, we will.
Does it show what happened outside, or is it just what was inside?
Preliminarily, we have some evidence from outside the McDonald's parking lot and also inside as well.
What about over across the street at Burger King? Do they have surveillance too?
They do, to my understanding, and we're collecting that as well.
We heard that the knife was possibly tossed over at the Burger King. Is that true, the murder weapon?
The murder weapon was, apparently he had two knives. One was tossed in the bushes in and around the McDonald's parking lot. We recovered both.
Do you know which one was the actual murder weapon, or were they both?
We do. We do.
Which one was it?
The blade was approximately 12 inches in length.
Right, was it the one that was
the one at the bushes in McDonald's.
Gotcha,
yes.
Okay. Can you talk about any of the stab wounds at all? I mean, I noticed that you'd said in the press release the chest and arm area. Can you be more specific? Punctured lungs, punctured heart, anything like that?
They're conducting the autopsy probably as we speak. It's supposed to start at 10:30 this morning. Fatal wound to the chest and then one to the arm.
Fair to say it was the bleeding out inside the McDonald's that pretty much did him in?
Yes.
We saw the McDonald's was closed. Is that your investigation is done inside the McDonald's, correct?
For the most part, but not necessarily. Any crime scene investigation, sometimes you need to have the ability to go back to recover additional information and even evidence from time to time. So
is that the reason that the McDonald's is still closed?
Yes, and it could possibly be a corporate decision as well from McDonald's as well. That I haven't heard of as of this morning.
When do you think you'll be able to give the all clear to McDonald's to do whatever they have to do with their restaurant?
I believe probably today sometime.
Do we know if the perpetrator was homeless, as mentioned?
To our understanding, he was homeless. We're uncovering and looking into a lot of that. We dealt with him actually the night before. He called us from Burger King, again, right across the street, and was telling the responding officer that individuals were looking for him or after him.
Does he have any other prior records?
He does. And just prior to that, again, that's our dealing with him here in the city. We don't think he's been in Vero too long. Again, we're not real sure. He's from the Miami Hialeah area, born in Cuba. A 1994 arrest for battery to a spouse in Miami-Dade. A 95 DUI in Miami-Dade, arrested in Lake Park Police Department in 1995 for, looks like some type of public disorder. A possession of marijuana charge in 1997 in Brooks County, Texas. An aggravated battery kidnapping in Miami-Dade in 1997. In June of '99, Texas was arrested for, this I believe was a federal charge, but he was arrested for cocaine smuggling and possession of cocaine. Excuse me. And then in 2000, conspiracy to possess cocaine, again in Texas. Looks like he received 108 months on that charge. In August of 2010, DUI hit and run, leaving the scene in Miami-Dade. And then in May of 2012, operating a motor vehicle without a driver's license.
Do you know approximately how long he was living here? His last known address, was it in Vero Beach?
His last known address, again, he's homeless to our knowledge, so his last known from his information that we have is out of Hialeah, Florida.
Do you know what the year was, how long ago that was, that last known address?
He was issued a license, it looks like in November 2010.
Okay.
So to that address.
Where was the deceased from?
I'm sorry?
The deceased, where were they from?
The deceased is from Connecticut. And what I can share you with that, and maybe some of the most important information this morning, is Kevin Ordorno. What he did, he was on his bicycle, and last August he bicycled, kind of a bucket list. He bicycled from Maine to Maryland. This summer he wanted to finish that East Coast trek, Maryland area to Miami. Again, he's from Connecticut. And he happened to stop here in Vero Beach, was inside, grabbed a bite to eat, recharging his cell phone, got on the phone with his girlfriend, who we understand Thursday when he arrived in Miami was going to propose to be married. Was talking to her, and Mr. Cruz approached him in the parking lot and killed him.
Were the witnesses, did they say anything about besides the stabbing that happened, were there any words exchanged, anything like that you heard from witnesses?
The witnesses we spoke to, and we have 2 or 3 at least at this time, were inside McDonald's and saw Mr. Cruz outside, north of the restaurant, in the parking lot. There's a little median section there where there's some concrete chairs and things like that, where you can eat outside if you wish. He was pacing in that area, walking, what have you. They observed Kevin bike to the store, come inside, grab something to eat, sit down, and then again get on the phone, probably to get maybe good reception, talking to his girlfriend. Goes outside. From talking to Mr. Cruz, again he explained where he had been at the McDonald's parking lot for the larger portion of yesterday, and as people would park to go in the store, he felt uncomfortable and he would move. For instance, a motorcycle pulled up close to him and he moved away. A car would pull up and he moved away. So he felt that when Kevin was on the phone, Kevin was summoning individuals to come and take his life. From what we understand.
Are we saying, Chief, that this gentleman was mentally ill?
I'm not saying that at this time, no.
He hasn't been Baker acted, has he?
To our knowledge, he has been Baker acted.
Ever.
He made a conscious decision, we feel, to do what he did.
Explain again, Chief. Okay, so this gentleman was on a bucket list bicycle trip. He had gone from Maine to Maryland last summer,
Right.
And was going from North Carolina to Miami?
Not North Carolina.
Okay, where was he going?
Last summer, Maine to Maryland. And again, he's from Connecticut. This summer, he wanted to finish the trek on the East Coast from Maryland to Miami.
So he had not finished the trek yet?
He was in Vero on his way to Miami. Again, he biked right to the McDonald's last evening to stop and get something to eat.
And when was he supposed to go to Miami, and then he was supposed to do what there?
Thursday, we understand, we have spoken to the family, and by the way, when we have a photo of Kevin, we'll share it with you as well. Hopefully that'll be today. But we've spoke to the family on more than one occasion, and to our knowledge and from what they've told us, He was going to, his girlfriend, who he spoke on the phone with, was still in Connecticut, but apparently going to meet him in Miami at the end of his bicycle ride, and then he was going to propose to her. We did have the ring that he was going to use to propose on his possession.
There wasn't anything taken from him after he was stabbed. I mean,
No, not to our knowledge. If you want, he's apparently a graphic designer. You can go or Google mypencilportraits.com to look at a little bit of his work. I did that already, and amazing work, an artist and with a pencil, and it looks, you know, just like a picture, but handwritten. So you may want to look at that as well.
Chief, what's the situation, I guess, with the any homeless activity in that block? Is there routinely homeless folks in that area, or?
We have homeless in the area there from time to time, Lamar. As you can imagine, McDonald's relatively cheap food-wise, you know. It's not that there's a homeless camp there, if that's what you're asking, but from time to time, we do experience people that are homeless at McDonald's.
Okay. Any issues with as far as loitering or anything more than?
You know, they call us if there's an issue inside or out. So nothing that comes to mind.
So you wouldn't say there's like a citywide homelessness problem or something with, you know, that might have...
No, I would not. No. He may have stayed at the Source the night before, and that's in the county there off of US 1, behind the Mazda dealership in the Style gas station there. It's an area where they can go and get food and maybe spend the night, as long as I believe if they're safe or that kind of thing.
And clarify again, Chief, your interaction with Mr. Cruz the previous night. What had happened?
He called us from Burger King, and I could give you some information on that, just as far as the time. It was approximately 8:20 p.m., and he called us saying that there was people outside trying to injure him.
and your officers made contact with him the
They
day
did,
before?
yeah.
And they interviewed him and he seemed coherent, normal?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he didn't, of course, didn't display or show or mention anything of a knife, or we did run him and took his information.
You said the victim was found inside the McDonald's, but he was stabbed outside.
Right.
Was he able to get himself inside?
He went inside in an effort to get some help and fell dead just inside the door by the bathrooms.
How many times was he stabbed?
I'm sorry?
How many times was he stabbed?
We know of 2. And again, the autopsy is being conducted as we speak.
Do you know what the response time was for?
Less than 2 minutes.
So those were pretty lethal 2 stab wounds if it doesn't turn out to be more.
The one to the chest was indeed very lethal.
So I mean, even if you had a paramedic standing right next to him, chances are.
We did have individuals, witnesses inside that tried to render aid, just as citizens going to McDonald's, but to no avail. Yes, and that was less than 2 minutes upon, of course, being called.
As far as I know, Mr. Adorno had just come through Eagle River County some Monday afternoon.
Yeah, again, they saw him pull up on his bicycle. We don't know right now the specific trek. Was he taking US 1 the whole way? What was his route, most likely? He had his bike shoes on.
Was he? Where do you know where he was going to spend that night? Did he have a reservation in a motel?
Right now, I don't know.
Okay.
He may have told his girlfriend, and that's something we may, as we continue our investigation, find out. But right now, I do not know that.
How tragic was it for the employees and the witnesses there? That's not a place you would expect somebody to be stabbed at McDonald's.
I know it had to have been very, very traumatic. Again, like you said, people are going for a bite to eat, what have you, and the next thing you know, someone's coming in the north door there, bleeding profusely, and calling out for help, and falling dead, and continuing to bleed. That certainly had to have been traumatic for everyone that was there, customers and employees.
And this guy Cruz, he was just across the street while all that's going on, just walking around, just hanging out. I mean, what was
He fled to the Burger King, threw the knife, the murder weapon into the bushes in McDonald's, and we recovered the other knife on the Burger King property.
But I mean, when it happened, he was at the Burger King, I mean, he still had 2 minutes to go anywhere, so he was just standing.
Yeah, I think his, intentions, from what he said, at least, was to call us.
So he felt he was just protecting himself.
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
But he told you that.
He had mentioned that he was intending on calling us. Did he? He did not.
Homeless, did he have a cell phone? Was he using a payphone when he was calling the day before and
I believe he went inside the call. I don't know that he has a cell phone, but I believe when he did call us, he was inside a Burger King. I don't know if he has to use the phone.
Did you find any drugs or medications on him or in his system, or no?
Now, is the fact that you feel he doesn't have a mental issue, is it because he ditched the weapons? He consciously tried to get rid of those weapons? Is that part of the reason?
That's part of it for sure. I mean, he's standing outside, and he has a knife on his person, and he decides to use it against somebody who he doesn't know, and then leave, flee the area, throw the knives away, certainly.
What kind of knife was this? Was it a hunting knife, a kitchen knife?
I'm not real sure, John. It was probably a good 12-inch. It looked like a fillet style type knife, a 12-inch in length, with, of course, a handle.
Do you know whether, I guess about the video, can you tell whether he just blindsided the guy, or did he have a confrontation with him, or did he say anything to him before?
Well, he noticed, this is Mr. Cruz, he noticed a few of the witnesses inside. In fact, he saw an individual inside on his computer. People take their computers and use the Wi-Fi, and he felt that was suspicious, that maybe someone was using a computer inside to summon individuals to harm him. And so it wasn't just Mr. Adorno necessarily, but, and I mentioned earlier about vehicles pulling up in the parking lot, and he just felt compelled to move. So, again, Mr. Adorno was on his phone talking to his girlfriend, and he saw that and felt like he was, in danger.
Just walked up to him and...
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that that could have happened to anyone at that McDonald's that day?
Unfortunately, yes. Again, I look at the people that came there and were parking their car and going into the McDonald's, and from talking to them now, yes.
Did the suspect have a first appearance this morning, or will that be tomorrow?
To my knowledge, he did, yes. We got him out there this morning, though. I know I checked the sheriff's website, and his picture or name wasn't up maybe an hour ago or so. I'm not real sure.
Has Joe Conrado, the owner, made a statement?
He has not, to my knowledge, we haven't spoken yet.
Where does the investigation go from here?
Well, we have the autopsy, as I spoke about. We will backtrack some and try to form a timeline and continue to form a timeline. Some of the questions that were asked that I'm not able to answer right now, as far as where was he going to spend the night, where had he been prior, a little bit more obviously on Mr. Cruz as far as where he's been and things like that, just in an effort to be totally thorough.
And again, Chief, you said he was starting his, when did he start his biking from Maryland? How long ago, do we know?
Each year was in, last year and this year, we believe it was in August. I don't have the dates yet, John, but again, we believe it was the month of August.
And he started in Maryland, like he had done one part and now he's doing the second.
Right. He may have left his home in Connecticut and then called the continuation for Maryland. That I'm not specifically sure.
Do you know if he intended to head straight down US 1?
I do not.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not real sure of his course. Of course, he was on US 1, and as far as biking, that's probably what he was doing.
Between employees and customers, do you know roughly how many people were interviewed last night as witnesses?
I know we had 3 or 4 witnesses that were listed, and I'm sure we spoke to more and will continue to do so.
Is there a report available yet?
We have a complaint affidavit I believe we'll be able to share, and again, some of the evidence that we're not able to share at this time as far as video goes. But what we can share, we will. I think everyone here knows by now that that'll be the case, and we'll do it as soon as we can.
Okay. Just to clarify, the incident where Mr. Cruz called you the previous night, that was the only previous incident that this agency's had with Mr. Cruz?
To my understanding, yes. Yes.
And did you say how long he had been in town? You said, I do recall, I think you said he hadn't been here long.
It does not appear that has been here that long, but that could be a month. I'm not really sure. Those are some of the things we have to finalize.
Was the confession on the scene or back here at the station?
Here at the police department.
How long was he here?
We transported him this morning sometime, so I'm not real sure of the time, but he was here for a little while.
Will we be able to get a copy of a signed confession?
That's part of the complaint affidavit,
Okay.
so there shouldn't be an issue with that.
Do you have a videotape confession of him? Is that?
I believe we have a videotape, yes, and I'm sure we'll probably be able to share that as well eventually. Yeah.
Not today?
I didn't say that.
Oh, well, good.
That picture over there, that's not his mugshot, that's a driver's license picture?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. As I said, I didn't see one, maybe an area, maybe up by now.
So that's the one from 2010?
Yes.
Does he look, is that what he looks like now? Is that?
Fairly accurate, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I think you covered it.
Okay. All right, well, thanks for showing up this morning and coming out, reporting the news.